Hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for joining me. Today is one for the gamers really, but some of the principles and the idea behind it kind of relate to all sorts of things really. I mean, for example, often people ask me where I get spare parts or where they can find spare parts for boom boxes and things like that. And my short answer generally is you can't really get the spare parts, they're just not made anymore. And the only way to get them for sure is to buy a donor unit. Now, indeed, quite often donor units can be rare, they can be expensive, they can be hard to find. And if you're working on loads of the same model or quite regularly, having a donor unit is really quite useful for spare parts. But of course, if you've got one example of something, it seems counterintuitive and expensive just to buy another one, just to pinch a piece out of it. So sometimes you have to kind of fabricate parts as well. Now, I don't have a lathe, I don't have a 3D printer or anything like that. I'd love to get into that at some point in the future. But just coming back to these games though, I restored a Cosmic Scramble and a Galaxy Twin Vader on the channel, probably, I don't know, about a year ago maybe. And they're very rare games. And I actually had the opportunity over the last sort of 6 months or so to acquire both a Galaxy Twin Vader and a Cosmic Scramble in a boxed condition. That's extremely rare. Now, for a collector and a bit of a game nerd like me, that's really cool, and I just couldn't pass up the opportunity to do that. So the Cosmic Scramble does have a battery cover and it's all complete and what have you, but the beauty about the one that I bought that was boxed for the Galaxy Twin Vader was that that did come with a battery cover, which the one I restored, and is generally in nicer condition than this one that was boxed, it didn't have a battery cover. So what I've done is I basically wanted to pinch the battery cover from this one and the box and keep that for myself, and I'll now be selling this one on. Now that's fine, but I didn't want to sell it without a battery cover, of course, so I thought what I'll do is I'll fabricate one. So the beauty of things like this and this messing about is, I remember when I did the restoration video for the Galaxy Twin Vader, trying to see things like, I don't know, I looked at things like Frogger, I think, and all sorts of different games to see if battery covers would be compatible with the CGL stuff. Now this is actually a Grandstand battery cover, so it fits things like, here we have Star Force. If I was to put that into the Star Force game, that works. It also works on Firefox, it works on Scramble. I've got a beaten up old Astro Wars here, so it'll even fit in there, and that's fantastic. However, what it doesn't do is work with CGL games, and I remember when I restored one or other of these two back along the way, that we were trying the different ones, and the Grandstand one was the closest fit, and you can see actually that they are very similar, probably came from the same manufacturing house, same details on there, but they don't quite work. And there's two main differences. One is the size of the tangs and the position of the little clicking tangs there, and the other one is the height of the heel. So one of them's got a very slightly longer throw than the other one, to the point where if you put that one into there, it works. If I was to put the Grandstand one into there, it won't lock in because the tangs are in a different position, but also it's slightly too high as well, so it just wouldn't sit flush. And so the next question was, well, okay, does the CGL one work with other games as well? So this is the Cosmic Scramble one going in there, and it fits perfectly. So that's great, because as an unexpected bonus of buying the blue one, I ended up with a template. But I've been planning to make this little video for a little while anyway, so I'd already thought about what I was going to do with this, and the plan is really just to make a quick modification to this. And there are two, possibly three different things I'd like to do with it. One is obviously to cut the tangs so that they'll allow it to lock into the holes. Secondly, to trim a few millimeters off the heel there to get it to lock all the way in. And then thirdly, it'd be nice just to give it a coat of paint, just to colour match it. Then that way it makes it easier for me to be able to sell this one, but also it'd be nicer for the new owner. So it might not be an original battery cover, but it'd be nice to have one rather than none at all. So what I'm going to do today anyway is just make a few mods to this and see if we can get the Grandstand battery cover to fit a CGL game. And if we can be successful with that, then we'll know we can do that in the future, and it'll be tickety-boo. So first thing I want to do is just well, start cutting this about really. So to that end, we'll just slide this into position, and I'm just going to mark, I think with probably a silver pen, the parts that need to be removed. And I reckon if I can get those bits away, now I might, if I can get a Dremel or something on there, I might be able to cut that piece out and actually bond it next to the other one to make it, where are we? I'll just get the original one. They're quite wide, those tangs on there. It'd be quite nice to see if we can bond the broken pieces back next to it, but they might just come off anyway, so let's see how we get on. So I'm going to have a little go with this Dremel now, see if I can cut this little piece out. And that's the two bits there, so we've still got some tangs on there. Like I said, it could be, we might be possible to bond those extra bits in, but quite frankly, probably more trouble than it's worth. Now, okay, let's see what happens. Alright, good. So straight away, yeah, got engagement now. Lovely, you can hear that? Right, good. So we're almost there. It brings up another issue as to whether or not these are going to actually bottom out just in these corners as well. So we might need to take them back a little bit as well. But we're getting there. But the next thing I want to do though is now mark, again I think with a pencil for now, coloured pen, is just mark where it actually contacts on the back of the unit, like so. And then I should hopefully be able to score that line. Good. So we know we've got to get rid of that. What I might do actually is cut that as well with the Dremel. And I was going to grind it. I was just going to grind it all back. But I think what I'll do is just cut that somewhere close and then set it against the grinder to get a nice flush finish, and then I can dress it with a bit of sandpaper afterwards. Now really, I suppose I ought to get this in a soft vise and use two hands to control the Dremel, but as I'm only going part way to the line, I shouldn't need to worry too much. Right, I don't want to put it through my skin. Now obviously the slower the better really. You don't want to burn the plastic if you can help it. You don't want to melt it back in. That's about as slow as this machine goes. So it does have a little bit of a tendency to weld itself back behind. However, not too bad. So we'll just put that. Right, okay. So that's not too bad at all now. I reckon another millimetre or two off of that. Not too bad at all. Then it's whether or not this will actually go all the way back in. I don't think it will, you know. Let me just see. Where's the CGL one? Yeah, I think that one goes very slightly closer. Very slightly closer to the edge, you know. But that being said, we can do that in a minute once I've got this piece flat across the back. So I'm just going to go and run that over a grinder now or some sandpaper, get that level, and we'll go from there. Right, I think we're pretty much there. I'm a little bit annoyed at myself because I'd got it kind of about to there and it was working fine, but it was kept getting stuck, and I was nibbling bits out from the edges up here, nibbling bits out from the back edge, and it turned out what it was. Do you remember at the very beginning, the first thing we did was cut away part of these little bits of tangs at the front that clip in? Well, unfortunately, or whatever, I'd cut it square across the face, but I had left part of the mounting point on the actual back, and what it was doing was, even though these were going in, it was just sort of catching, it was butting against the edge, and I thought the issue was up here somewhere at the back. Turns out, there we go, we're in now. So yeah, not bad. I mean, now I know exactly what it is. Next time, making one will be really easy. I'm not going to waste another £5 making another one that's even better than this, because I've just learnt my lesson and I know what's what now. But in future, yeah, it really is just going to be a case of taking these nibs back all the way down flush at the back, and then squaring off the back. I'll just tidy this up with a bit of sandpaper, and I think I'll just scuff it up, get some paint on there actually, make it look even better. But yeah, to be honest, it's better than nothing now, isn't it? We've got one, so all good stuff. So I've just sanded this down just to take the sheen off it, give it a key for the primer and the paint. I'm actually just using some IPA now just to clean all the grease and the dust off. And it'll be plastic primer and then a top coat on there, but you can see basically most of the sheen's gone now. That should be a good enough key. In an ideal world, I'd have taken a bit more time. You know, it did get it did get snarled up. It did sort of snap when I was sanding it originally, which took a fair old chunk out of the back, made it slightly uneven, but I can live with that. I know for the future to just be a bit more careful with that. And yeah, so far so good. Well, here it is then, the battery cover. It's been modified, painted. Just gave it a quick bit of plastic primer and a few coats of top coat as well. Yes, it's not the right colour match for the unit. The unit's obviously aged, but then again, the blue one isn't exactly much different either, with the different tones. But all these different things you can do in your own time if you wanted to. In fact, my hands are still covered in paint because, as usual, it's the last pass that you do that you end up spraying yourself. And also, I also managed to drop it straight in the leafy gravel outside because I was in a rush to get it dry before my missus realised I'd stolen the hairdryer to dry the paint. So there we go then. So next time I think it'd be a lot easier. All you'd have to do is take these nibs right back to the main plate there and sand down the back by a few millimeters. Essentially it works, I think, anyway. So to that end, let's get some batteries in. Oh, there it is. And there's the battery cover on. So yep, it's snug enough, it fits okay, holds the batteries, which is obviously what it's supposed to do. So there you go, guys. If you've ever got yourself a CGL game and you haven't got a battery cover for it, you can pinch one from a Grandstand game and modify it to suit. Anyway, listen, just a little quick tip video there. Hope you found that useful. Thanks very much for watching, and in the meantime, I'll see you soon. Take care, stay safe, bye bye for now.